Skill and technique are at the top of the list. But when you get into a situation where your skills are similar, a whole lot of other things start to matter. Mindset matters. Sleep matters. Diet matters. Strength and conditioning matters. In a game of inches like Jiu Jitsu, you can't take anything for granted. It is Thursday, March 13th. Tomorrow will mark the halfway point of Ramadan. I keep talking about my numbers, and so there's training readiness and there's training status. Training readiness is the one that I've been talking about through most of these videos. That basically tells you how well your body is recovered to train that day. Training status tells you, based on your most recent training results, what your current condition is over that time period. So training status can be either detraining, meaning you haven't trained in a while, so your numbers are going down. You can be in a state of maintaining, so you're training in a way that your fitness isn't going up and it isn't going down, it's just maintaining where you are. Or you can be productive, meaning your training is very well balanced and it's improving. Or you can be in a strained state. Strained means you are overtrained. It means you are severely overtrained. Here, take a look. You can see it on the screen. It comes from consistently bad heart rate variability numbers. So my heart rate variability numbers have been consistently below my threshold over like the last 3 days. That, along with all of the other poor metrics, means that my body is in a strained state. I'm starting to formulate an opinion about whether or not I would do this again and whether or not I would recommend anyone else do it. I'm gonna let you know at the end of this whole thing what my final verdict is. But I've also started gathering important lessons learned through all of this. Lesson number 1, you have to prioritize eating even when food becomes a nuisance. Not only do you have to force yourself to eat when you're doing this kind of stuff, you have to force yourself to eat extra, which is what I did yesterday and which is what I did this morning. I ate a ton of leftovers this morning. Well, don't even worry about nutrient balance and all of that. Of course, you want to eat good. You don't want to eat cereal the whole time. But the focus is on getting in the calories to support the effort that you're doing. All right, I just arrived at Ithaca BJJ. Let me go get this and we'll continue this on the other side. All right, that concludes my training for this evening. And I must say, I'm pretty tired, man. Once again, that damn watch is right. I am. I feel strained. So I did 3 rounds, 3 pretty easy rounds, super technical. And then I went with Professor Matt last. That's always an interesting role. It's like, with me and him, it's like, we'll be like rolling and then we'll each just sort of stop and wait to see what the other one's gonna do. It's like a weird chess match, man. A chess match that I always lose, but that was a fun roll. He has crazy top pressure, man. He's really good with his top pressure. He's really good with using his head to position himself. You know, he'll like, balance on his head on the mat and stuff, man. It's crazy. I feel genuinely just wore out. Just wore out. At the point where I'm really thinking I might need to take a day off tomorrow. I trained 4 days straight while fasting. Jiu Jitsu on Monday, Jiu Jitsu on Tuesday, weight training on Wednesday, Jiu Jitsu today. I'm feeling it not just in my body, but my brain feels tired. Yesterday, I had a 3 p.m. meeting. Man, I was so grumpy. I was very mindful of it. They were trying to explain stuff to me. I just wasn't getting it, and I wasn't even trying. I was like, you know what, guys? Let's regroup next week, come by the staff meeting and fill us in. And I basically just did whatever I could to just end the meeting and get them off of my Zoom screen. It's starting to catch up to me. It's a new day and things are different. So I was certain I was just going to be completely busted when I woke up this morning. But that wasn't the case. I had a sleep score of 69. That's 69 out of 100. It's not great, but it's not terrible. It says that my sleep was fair. My training status is still not in the green zone, but instead of it being in the red zone of poor, it's in the orange zone of low. Now that's at wake up time. Training status typically improves as the day goes on. So I woke up, it was like 35. When I last looked at it, maybe an hour ago, it was like 42. It might be close to the green zone by the time it's time for me to train this evening. My body battery, surprisingly, I woke up, it was like 53. Again, that's not great. Typically, I wake up above 80 to 95 on a great recovery. It'll be 100. But waking up with 53 after the way I felt last night was pretty shocking. I was surprised. My HRV is still in the unbalanced zone, very unbalanced, because it averages out your HRV status over the previous 7 days. So based over the data from the previous 7 days, I'm unbalanced. It's pretty low. Last night, my overnight HRV was 71. My range, my low range is 73 up to 91. I'm slowly creeping back into normal range for me. My training status, not training readiness, my training status. Remember, in my last post, I said my training status was strained, meaning my body is overtrained. It's time to take a break. This morning, I woke up, the training status had crept back up to maintenance, meaning I'm maintaining, not overtrained. These are all really good signs, and I feel good. Let me tell you something. One thing I have learned about competing is that everything counts. Everything counts because skill and technique are at the top of the list. But when you get into a situation where your skills are similar, a whole lot of other things start to matter. Mindset matters. Sleep matters. Diet matters. Strength and conditioning matters. In a game of inches like jiu-jitsu, you can't take anything for granted. Let me say it again. In an activity like jiu-jitsu, where mere inches can determine you being submitted or you submitting someone, you cannot take anything for granted. All right, heading for jiu-jitsu. I feel pretty good. My body battery is 31. For it to be 31 after I've been fasting all day, it's pretty good. That tells me my body has recovered pretty well. And I really do think that it boils down to eating properly, eating a lot. So that's an important lesson learned. I kind of touched on something earlier that I want to expand on a little bit. And I don't understand why there is so much controversy about this in jiu-jitsu. This is only a thing in jiu-jitsu, by the way. Jiu-jitsu is the only sport, I think, that has this problem. Let me paint a picture for you. I go to my first jiu-jitsu class in May 2018, 7 years ago. And immediately from the first day, the first class, I was all in. Man, I was all in. I've been hooked ever since. I trained through COVID. I have videos, hours of videos of us training in my backyard during COVID. Early on, I found out about this weird cultural thing within jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu guys, or at least that was the impression that I was given at the time. Jiu-jitsu guys don't weight train. They don't lift weights because jiu-jitsu is all about technique. I wrestled in high school. I wasn't very good because I started too late. I wrestled my junior and senior year in high school. And I was actually in the starting lineup only because we didn't have anyone to fill that spot. Another story for another time. But I do remember the wrestling training, which I absolutely loved. Anyone who knows anything about wrestling is about the grind, man. It's about the grind. It's about being tough. Of course, there's technique, obviously, but strength and power are huge, huge parts of wrestling. So I found this thing in jiu-jitsu to just be strange. It's like there was a taboo against it. This has got to be like the only sport in the world where they pride themselves on not weight training. Maybe golf. Hell, even Tiger Woods started lifting weights. So Here's my controversial opinion. And I don't think it's controversial at all. It's just controversial because some jiu-jitsu guys are just silly. Strength matters. Jiu-jitsu is a martial art. It is also a sport where you're using the body. Forget about strength for jiu-jitsu. How about strength to protect your joints? This is one of the great benefits of strength training for jiu-jitsu. It protects your body from injury. To me, this is just common sense. Yes, if you're using strength instead of using technique, okay, that's bad because that's not good jiu-jitsu. But when you're in a tournament and someone's coming at you, you better believe having some strength on your side is going to be very helpful. I've seen it where, guys who are really strong, they know jiu-jitsu, but they're also strong. And they're able to prevent an armbar because of their positioning and because of their strength. And guys at their level and even higher than them aren't able to get the armbar. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. Don't let anyone tell you strength in jiu-jitsu isn't important. This is silly. It is silly. You look at the guys at the high levels, man, those guys are hitting the weights, man. You think they're doing it just so they can look good in their rash guards? No. They're doing it because they're athletes who are serious about their craft. So the next time someone tells you strength doesn't matter in jiu-jitsu, smile politely and just move on. Don't even try to argue with the person. You may as well be having an argument about religion. Ironic I say that while I'm fasting Ramadan. All right, peace.